hit the button. What's up? Whole Damn Enchilada Podcast. Rick Polton, Ryan Inman, and we have down here the lost Leatherface himself, Brett Wagner, in the house.
Rick, Rick, take a little of that light off. I'm getting blinded by your forehead.
I'm trying, but it's like my monitor.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah. You're getting blinded by that forehead.
Oh, wait a minute.
Is it better?
Hairline done fell back.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got this.
It's fine. Hey, listen, if you run a show like this, that's fine. I almost didn't see you. Wait a minute now.
They work?
Yeah, that's not bad. Now we can see a little color back to your face.
I got this new monitor and this different camera because I was working on this laptop, and the laptop camera would show me better, but the monitor is all white, and then the white reflects onto the camera. I don't understand technology, but it makes it too bright. So I have a new camera on order, but I do not have it here yet. So
I'm still. I use my phone or I use my little tablet. I have yet to get the cool microphone like when I'm in the studio. Now, in your guys' intro, was that Friday the 13th Part 6?
It was a friend of ours that he does the podcast, the Horror Shed podcast. He made that for us, and it's just a collage of different, because we're big on Friday. That's our biggest thing.
I think I saw a little Friday the 13th Part 6 and CJ Graham in there.
Yes, absolutely. 1 and 5 are my favorites. 6 is his favorite. So we got a little bit of all that in there.
Well, it's, one is, any kind of one is tough to, especially in stuff like that, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
People say, but you can't go. Number 1 was number 1. I mean, that's right. That's what set the franchise apart. The same with Friday the 13th. The same with Halloween. All those 3 movies, and same with Nightmare on Elm Street. If there wasn't that number 1, there'd never be any sequels. I mean, our version. Look, I took over your radio show. Our version.
All good, man.
Our version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is by far the most brutal. It doesn't make it the best. No. I mean, so I always, when someone says that, I go, I'm partial to Part 3 myself with Ari Mihailov. Yeah. I don't mind the Netflix one. I think Mark Burnham's a great guy, and I like every movie has their issues. I like the 3D one. Dan Yeager is great. I mean, there's some timeline issues, but Leatherface running through a carnival, come on.
Well, Rick's a big fan of that one.
The 3D. Well, if they would have left Adam's script alone, like he didn't have smartphones and shit in the script, and it was supposed to take place 20 years after 74, so in about 92, 93, maybe 94. But then they have it in the 2000s, and that screwed a lot of it up. But I still like all the Texas Chainsaw Massacres except the one with Matthew McConaughey.
That's not even that bad. But
bad.
Wait a minute.
But
you mean to tell me you like the one where they're kids? Leatherface as kids?
I know you don't like that one. I do. I like it a lot.
It's the most unwatchable piece of garbage. I mean, it really is. And you had, what's his name? Stephen Dorson. And how do you, you just froze on me, Ryan.
Yeah.
A great actor who I will watch. I mean, I'll give it, if, Stephen Dorson, I'll give it a chance just because I love him, from Blade and 8 other million movies he's done, but it's so unwatchable that it's, I don't know. But Matthew McConaughey, over the top. He was just so over the top in that movie. Yeah, a cross-dressing Leatherface is maybe not my cup of tea, but the movie still is not, you have you have one Academy Award winner in that movie. The major actors that have been in this franchise is just absolutely stunning.
And out of all of the four major, the Mount Rushmore of horror movies, you got, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw. I think that these movies have definitely had the best looking females in it by far. Texas Chainsaw versus all the others, every one of them is just top notch, going back to 74.
Yeah. We just did, I was just at Creep Icon over the last weekend, and they had the 50th anniversary. It's the 50th anniversary of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
So I got to see some of the guys and got them to sign one of the Trick or Treat Studios chainsaws that just came out for me, which are very cool, by the way. So
yeah, I'm going to grab one of those myself.
A very good bargain, I think, at $80. But that's you can get a ton of people on there, and it sounds real good and it looks real good. You can get a ton of people signed on that thing. What was that?
I thought it was more than 80. Oh wow! I'm gonna definitely. I
think they retail for 80. I mean, I could be, maybe someone else has taken the liberty to raise it, but it's still it's still a good price for something that's very functional. Just a couple inches shorter than the real deal, but it looks like the real deal that Gunner was carrying around in the original movie. So
right on. Let's see. So we got Lorena Faze in the comments, and we got this guy. We picked him up from the Texas Chainsaw page tonight. Chris Oland. How's it going, brother? And if you guys have any questions for Brett, just pop them in there, and we'll read them on the air. So, where did the name Big Schwag come from? How did that come about?
I used to be before I was an actor. I was an adult film star.
Oh, nice.
No, I was not. I did pro wrestling for a while. I got into that business when I was like 30 years old, did it for about 5 years.
Okay.
And was like a bad manager. And one of my friends used to call me Schwag. Schwag, this Australian guy, Tom. So when I started in the business, I was like, well, I'll just call myself Big Schwag. And I was using that name a little, I was trying to brand that name. And when I got the gig on Monster Garage, I was like, hey, I call myself Big Schwag. And our executive producer, Tom Beers, was like, whatever. If the Discovery doesn't like it, they'll tell us.
Yeah.
No, they never said nothing. I mean, Schwag means low grade
weed. Yeah.
Mexican
that's
weed.
what I always knew it as.
Yeah. So one time, like 4 years into Monster Garage, one of the producers, one of the guys from Discovery that would come down and make sure the show's doing all right, he's like, I know what Schwag is. And I'm like, it's too late, pal. It's too late to say anything.
Right. So what got you into wrestling? What made you want to do that?
I mean, everything I've done, I'm 56 years old. So everything I've done to this point in my life is because I liked it. I liked watching wrestling when I was a kid. I liked the horror movies when I was a kid. So I always knew that I wanted to be an actor and try to get into horror movies. And it took a long time before I even did anything. I think the first gig I ever did was a episode of Buffy or Angel.
Nice.
Rob Hall, the late Rob Hall, the director of Chrome Skull, and some other things got me a gig on it. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like my first acting gigs as far as doing horror stuff. So yeah, it was, and I wanted to do pro wrestling. I watched it as a kid and loved it. And at 30, I was like having a midlife crisis. I was like, what can I do? And I was doing Monster Garage at the time. So I was making money. And I was still throwing people out of bars at night.
Nice. That's always
so I didn't. No, it's not nice.
I've done that,
but it paid the bills. So I mean, I did that since I was 16 years old. So I just don't hate drunks. Can't do it anymore.
Not a fan.
I mean, listen, I worked at a great place called Jones. One of the last places I worked in Hollywood called Jones Hollywood. Great place. I mean, any given night you could have major celebrities in there, but dealing with people that drink, it's just it's tough enough to deal with. You're at a convention and you got drunks coming up to your table or whatnot, man. To do it for 5 hours a night and just really don't want to put my hands on somebody.
Yeah, night in and night out too. I used to work at a bar for many years. I know.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. But I got into I wanted to do it. I got into it. The late great Rick Drazen. He's a guy who was a professional wrestler and an actor. Actually created the Gold's Gym logo. If you ever look at a Gold's Gym logo, and used to train with Arnold and all these guys.
He's the guy, if I'm not mistaken, isn't he the guy that discovered Lex Luger and Sting back in the day? Or
it's Rick Bassman.
What's that?
That's Rick Bassman. He ran a company called Ultimate Pro Wrestling, and that's where I got my start. It was at Ultimate Pro Wrestling. So, in fact, I used to bounce at a place up at Universal Studios, Universal City Walk, and Sting was a bartender there back in the day, and I had no idea. I just knew there was some buff guy behiand the bar.
Yeah,
but
got into that Sting and Warrior. It wasn't Sting and Luger. It was Sting and Warrior.
Yeah.
But,
yes. What were they called?
Power Team 2000 or something.
I'll figure it out. I'll think of it before.
Blade Runners eventually. There was a Blade Runners eventually, but before
Blade Runners
later, Power Team something, and there was about 5 of them, and all of them jacked to the gills, and right on.
Yeah, so I did that for about 5 years and realized I mean, I was a good manager. I'm good at sometimes they would stick me out there when the ring goes, if the ring breaks or somebody gets hurt or we have to stall, they go, Schwag, go out there and
cut a promo.
So then and I'll tell you what, the wrestling totally helped my acting because, to get 1,000 people or to get 50 people to boo you or cheer you, it's art form. That's an art to do that, right? So to be able to go into a room for an audition where there's maybe 3 people there, it's like, only 3 people here. I just got 1,000 people to throw stuff at me. So this should be simple. So the wrestling was great. It's just the WWF thought I was too big at 6'5", 350 pounds for a manager.
Right. That's what happened to DDP when he started. He was a manager as well, but he's 6'6", or allegedly 6'6", build at 6'6". If you're a legit 6'5", that means you're WWE 6'7".
Yeah.
Oh, true.
They always make the guys taller.
Yeah.
I mean, Hulk Hogan's 6'5". I mean, not now because he can't stand up straight, but he was always billed as 6'8". He's only 6'5".
Right.
I mean,
you would have been like 6'7", 6'8" in the WWE.
But listen, I got to work with some great guys and became friends with a lot of the guys that are, some of these guys, C.W. Anderson, Amish Roadkill, Samoa Joe, John Cena, all the guys, Samoa Joe and John Cena that came from Ultimate Pro Wrestling. And, I had a little bit of a hand in finding Samoa Joe because he was working a different company. I went and watched some small thing in a storage unit. And I was like, man, this guy's, he's got something, Then we did a radio show together. People don't realize that Samoa Joe is super funny and super quick on his feet as far as improv. You're going to start seeing him probably, he's already done the, Candy, what's the Twisted Metal thing?
Yeah.
So you're going to see him transition in the acting, and he's so good at it. And so we did a radio show. We did that for a while. But, I got to work with a lot of guys I worked against. I think I was managing he's the general manager of Raw right now.
Adam Pearce.
Adam Pearce. So I was managing Adam Pearce against DDP, I believe.
Nice.
So I got I took a diamond cut. I think it was, I'm not sure, but I got to manage Adam Pearce a couple different times. And one of them was I think we were going against DDP. So I took a diamond cutter. I've taken got to work with Triple H in the ring. I had the Schwag Army. So, we would come out and then Triple H was in there and he was saying there's a lot of big guys. And this is when he's champ and just yoked and big steroids that's on his back. And he was so he's like, I like these guys. There's a lot of the prototype is what John Cena used to be called.
Yeah.
The prototype. He's like, not this big guy, the big swag, the big swag, the big, whatever. He said, that big swag guy, the big fat guy with the leather coat. So I come out with my army and I'm like, oh, hey, hey, this is the house that the swag army built. And he's like, it's not much of a big place, Well, we had 1,000 people in there that night though, but he was. And then I give him the drunken Irishman who's not with us anymore. He's drunk, go get him. And he gave a pedigree to the drunken Irishman, broke his nose. Because if you don't turn your face a little bit when you take a pedigree, you're going to break your nose.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm looking at that going, oh, crap. And then the rest of my guys have run off. And then I'm stuck in the ring with Triple H. So he goes, he does the little promo, punches me, picks me up, gives me a pedigree. Thank God I did not turn over. Because my shirt had gone up and my belly would have been all over the place. But, I got to live my dream, working in the business for a few years, and got to work with some really good guys. And I get bored if I don't do something. So always wanted to try stuff. And I've always made an effort to try to do things. And the pro wrestling was one of them, doing a radio show was one of them. And, but yeah, so yeah, wrestling was fun for 5 years.
Yeah, we're big wrestling guys, so we definitely wanted to hit on that for sure.
Zoe Stark. So Tom Howard, who is the boyfriend of Zoe Stark, who trained Samoa Joe, John Cena, trained. I tried to be a pro wrestler. And I think I had one match and it was terrible. So, but he would train all these guys that are great, and his girlfriend is Zoe Stark. So she is doing very well. And so I love watching some of these new guys. And we love AEW. So I'm a big fan of AEW. I know a lot of people, but AEW gives a chance for a lot of these guys, especially undersized guys and guys that you never would see unless you watch New Japan. But we still, there's so much wrestling on TV now. It can become a pain in the butt.
So oversaturated.
Yeah, a lot of those guys in AEW came through AIW in Cleveland, and we got to see a lot of those guys before they were anybody. Same with the WWE guys. Like, it seems like anybody in wrestling came through like Seth Rollins was our champion.
Yeah.
Before
when he was Black.
Yeah. When he was Tyler Black.
Great.
Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, all those guys. We seen all those guys. 20 years ago.
Oh, Joe was here a bit back then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great, tremendous guys. I mean, Seth Rollins, for God's sakes. But these guys, they're good on the stick, right? If you're not good at cutting promos, you better be the biggest, baddest wrestler in the world, or you better be able to move like AJ Styles used to move. He still moves good, but if you can't do that and you can't cut a promo, you're in deep trouble. So. I used to tell guys, learn to cut promos or you're going to get stuck with someone like me. And I want my own heat, right? It's just a natural thing for me to try to get a little heat for myself. Yeah, I'm putting this guy over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the art of it. But, you look at Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Oh,
he was the show. Yeah. He was the show, man.
Heenan may be the best to ever do it because he was one of the greatest managers, if not the greatest manager of all time. He was one of the greatest color guys of all time.
The greatest.
He could bump better than anybody, when he was wrestling. I mean, he was great in the ring. Yeah, he was great in the ring. He did every part of the wrestling business and did it better than most people, and in some aspects, better than everyone.
He drew money without ever actually having to step in the ring.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just with his mouth.
He was Hogan's biggest rival.
Very few guys like that. I mean,
it wasn't the guy Hogan was in the ring with. It was whoever Bobby Heenan brought to the ring.
100%. 100%. The closest thing to him is Jerry Lawler, right? Jerry Lawler, after his wrestling was done,
do all of those things.
Does all that stuff. Was great great as a color guy. Could get up and still throw a punch. So, but yeah, it was great. And if I could have gone on. I auditioned a couple times, sent in some tapes to be a color commentator, but it's a huge backstabbing business, right? So guys don't want to. It's the worst thing.
Lots of politics. Yeah.
It's so bad. So if some guy's there and they hear, oh, the big swag sending a tape, that guy's a, they'll badmouth you because they don't want to lose their gig.
They don't want to lose their spot.
They don't want to lose that. That's it. They don't want to lose your spot, and you're just like, come on, man. I mean, I can, what those commentators go through, and they got guys in their ear, and there's certain things they have to say and they can't say. It's far from the Bobby Brain Heenans, the Jerry Lawlers, and the Gorilla Monsoons, who I think probably had carte blanche to say what they wanted to say. It's not like that anymore. I know for a fact that these guys, there's certain things they can say and certain they can't. But they're all improv, the greats. I forget the guy, is he English, that went from NXT? Big guy, used to be a wrestler. Now he's doing commentating. He was commentating on NXT. Now I think he's on Raw.
Nigel McGuinness.
Is that him?
He does it, and there's another guy.
Wade Barrett did it.
Wade Barrett's doing it on Raw. But
so Wade is great.
Yeah,
Wade is it's an art form, and you got to think so quick on your feet, and then you got to, when these people telling you in your ear. One of my favorite guys in the whole world is Rick Knox, referee for AEW. Rick is, I've known Rick for a long time. I'm so happy for guys like that get a shot at that, because he's really good at what he does, and it's people don't give the referees much credit, but they're telling the story just as you, and sometimes they're guiding you through that story, because you'll forget. I got a concussion one time. I remember Samoa Joe was wrestling. Was it Samoa Joe or John Cena? Somebody was wrestling. I think it was Samoa Joe wrestling Chavo Guerrero, and I think that was one of the only times I ever managed Samoa Joe. And I remember I tripped Chavo with coming against the rope, flipped his his foot, and then I turn around and I'm to the crowd, and then when I turn around, I get a missile drop kick, and I went so low that it hit my head and got a concussion.
Oh wow!
So now I remember I'm coming up to the ring, and I'm like, and you can see these two guys are punching each other, looking at me because I got another spot, and I don't even know what's going on. So that's the worst feeling, when you're like, oh man, when you blow a spot, and then you can't. I don't even know what's going on because I got a concussion, and I'm trying to. But wrestling's fun, but it's definitely when you see these guys like Ric Flair and them wrestling so late into their years when they're older, it's just
kind of sad, if you ask me.
It is a little sad, but if you watch The Wrestler, if someone ever watches The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke,
great movie.
Such a great.
That is so much what happens to guys, right? They're at one point they have, Jake the Snake Roberts, right? Before then he got the drugs and everything else, but you're sharing they may give you we got a closet in here you can change, by yourself if you want, because they're trying to show you respect, but you're still wrestling for $150 or something, or they may fly you in and then you got to sell your pictures to make money. So, The Wrestler shows you what really on the independent circuit, at least, but now there's so much wrestling, as we talked about. Mm-hmm. Wrestling is again, I know some of this stuff is not wrestling though. We might talk about that. I can't think of the company that it's light bulbs.
GCW.
No, it's something else. It's on. Anyways, they're not that bad, but there's another company I'm trying to think of. Every time I comment on it when I see it on Facebook or Instagram, I'm like, that's not wrestling.
Yeah,
it's entertainment, but it ain't wrestling.
Yeah, I'm not into that deathmatch stuff.
No.
So an occasional death match, a Mick Foley, Terry Funk.
It matters, but not just because.
If you're not telling a story, then I'm not interested. If you're just doing moves just to do moves, then
I love Funk and Mick Foley, but they did it different. They weren't just doing it just because there was a reason.
Yeah. Or the stuff that you occasionally would have it in Japan, right? It wasn't an everyday thing, but some of these companies, that's all it is. So now you're going to get 8 matches that night. Everybody's using light bulbs,
and
they're going to get hurt. It's just you're going to get hurt, and it's
they're all getting paid $2 and a hot dog. To do that.
Listen, guys would stab. Back when I was doing it, I go do a show 2 hours away in Bakersfield. That would stab. I'm getting $50. It's not even covering my gas. But I wanted to do it, and I loved it, so I was going to go do it. But guys will stab you in the back for $50, or no, you don't want that guy down here. It's like, what are you doing? If you want it so bad, you can have it.
Sounds a lot like the underground music business too.
which he was a part of. He was in death metal band. So I'm gonna hit one of these questions real quick. We got this guy we picked up from the Texas Chainsaw page, Chris Olin. He wants to ask you if the directors of 2003 gave you a chance to get better before they cast Andrew over you. So let's talk about that for a minute. Then when you got Texas Chainsaw 2003, how did you get the part? And then we'll eventually get to where Chris is at.
Just trying to see here. Hold on. If I go away, I'm coming right back. Uh-oh. Okay. Where are you? Let me see. Okay. I was trying to hit chat, see if I could see something. I literally knew they were going to hire some local hire in Texas. I mean, that's what everybody was. They're just going to hire some bouncer, some ex-Dallas Cowboy player, some big guy. And I was so bummed about it because, I'm friends with R.A. Mihailoff and all these guys and Bob Elmore, Bill Johnson. And I'm a big horror guy, right? So, and that was 20 years ago. So I would have been, 35, I think, when we filmed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in one day for a commercial audition for like Tostitos. And when you go into a commercial casting place out here in LA, or at least in Hollywood back in the day, there'd be 7 different rooms. One would be McDonald's, Ford, Tostitos. And I saw TCM and I'm like, TCM? It can't be. So I called my commercial agent, commercial talent, Neil Kreppel. How are you? And I said, Neil, can you call over there? I can't remember the commercial lady's name, but see if that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. See if they must have been casting something small and they needed the office that day. And she agreed to do it. And he called and she said, yeah, they haven't cast Leatherface yet. I said, can you ask her if I can come in tomorrow and put myself on tape? And she goes, called back, said, yeah. So I went to Salvation Army, bought some cheap suit. It was, for like $10. It was giant. Went in there and she said, what do you want to do? I said, just roll the camera. And she's like, okay. So I said, hi, Mr. Bay. I said, listen, I hear you're going to hire some local hire. Are you out of your mind? Leatherface was not some big steroid guy. He actually ended up being that way when I got hurt. But it wasn't some, just, you don't want to give this part away. You don't want to give this to some fucking guy. It's a bouncer. Some guy that's never been on a set before. This is this is a huge part. And I said, please don't waste it. And then I picked up, there was a little girl working the camera and I picked her up and she was like, ah, and squealed and I put her over my shoulder and she's like, put me down. And I said, I turned around to the camera and said, I'll see you in Austin. I'll see you in Texas. And then I put her down and she said, that it? I said, yeah. I mean, I went for it. That's called going for it,
Absolutely.
And, like the next day she called and said, Michael Bay thought you were funny and you got the gig. And I was like, what? So then I call R.A. Mihailoff, first guy I called. He was so happy. And then I called, 800 people in like 2 minutes. And then like a half hour later, casting director calls, by the way, don't tell anybody. So I'm like, what the hell? So, I mean, I was working out really hard for 2 months before we went. And, went and got the Scott Stoddard did our mask. So I got to go get the live cast of our mask. Scott's a great special effects guy. And got there to filming and had a couple days before we filmed. I think I filmed something in a barn for a little bit. Then the first day of, the real day, the next day after that of filming, that outfit was so hot. And in Texas, I think it was July or August. I mean, they say the movie came out in October, but I think I couldn't tell you. I'd have to ask our director when we actually shot, but it was so hot that I kept dragging Kemper, kept dragging him after I hit him with the sledgehammer, kept dragging him. And I'm like, holy crap. Now, I told these guys, before we even shot that I said, hey, just letting you know, in an air-conditioned room in Pasadena, I'm sweating at 5 minutes in this thing. So I asked for a cool suit. I asked, and they said, we don't have the budget. Someone said we don't have the budget for a cool suit. Come on. They did. Anyways,
yeah.
But didn't get it. So, I mean, kept doing it. I think we took a break. Then we kept doing it again. And I remember I was just like, oh, this is not going to end well. And I collapsed. Said, I got to get this mask off. Give me 10 minutes. Went outside probably for 30 minutes, drank 7 Gatorades. And I felt, okay, I feel pretty good. But what happens when you get heat stroke? All your muscles tighten up. Your body is devoid of water, right? Really, and my back tightened. When I stood up, my back tightened up because of it, and I was like, holy crap. Now, I had an injury with my back like 2 years earlier. Getting heat stroke probably did not help it. And it did. My muscles tightening up did not help it. So I finished that scene. I mean, someone had a skateboard, so they put Eric Balfour on a skateboard. Speaking of that, because bending over at the waist was not good for me because the back was fried now. And
yeah,
I was just when I slammed that door, I was in so much pain. So when you see me slamming that door, you have no idea the amount of pain I was in. Then it was worse driving back with the cast in the van, and they dropped me off at the hospital. You know, but they said, you know, they gave me an electro stim kit on your back that, you know, some Vicodin, some what do you call it? Some muscle relaxers, ibuprofen. But I mean, you know, the next day the guy flat out came into my door, one of the producers, and said, how long? And I said, probably going to take me a week, you know, before it relaxed. But they didn't, I understand. They didn't have time for that. So 3 days, I kept calling the transportation guy, pick anybody up. He goes, no. Second day, pick anybody up. He goes, why are you calling? No, I haven't. Third day, he's like, I picked up this big loud guy. And I was like, ah. And I knew right away, right? And I was very happy for the guy because, I mean, he was getting into the professional wrestling when I was. And he was doing some commentating with me and stuff. And I always went up against him. I didn't know
he had a wrestling background too. That's great. Okay.
Well, he tried. He was. It's not for everybody. He was definitely big and strong, but it's he made his money acting, so that was obviously a better way for him. And I went up against him all the time and lost a lot of gigs to him because in the beginning he was the big guy in Hollywood. He was a very talented actor. He was giant and jacked, and so I was actually very happy for him. At least it was somebody I knew that got the gig. But you know, I wasn't 3 days in that hotel room knowing I'm going to go home any minute when that door rang, you know, the door knock. But I got rid of everything I had that was Texas Chainsaw related. I mean, I probably got rid of stuff that's worth 20 grand a day, and you know, got rid of it all. And then over the last couple of years, I mean, people have been, you know, weren't you Leatherface? And I was like, yeah, I was for a week. And so
well,
then
the iconic door slam scenes. That's really cool.
First time you see Leatherface. So they don't give me. We try. You know, my agent wanted to sue Michael Bay's production company, which was not a smart move, but because they're like, you got to get paid. They owe you like 35 grand, 40 grand. I'm like, I got hurt. He's like, well, that wasn't your fault. You got hurt though. So when it finally came down to it, I said no. You know, SAG called me, said, what do you want to do? Screen Actors Guild. And I said, just leave it alone. I mean, I'd like to work for Michael Bay again, which has never happened, but I'd like to work for him again. And I obviously don't want that office, Platinum Dunes, and them angry at me any more than they probably were. And so we never sued him, but they didn't give me the credit. I get my residual checks, of course. And, you know, and pretty much everybody knows that's me doing that gig. So, you know, Gunnar Hansen did not. Because somebody decided to get in an argument with Gunnar about slamming that door, who did it better. And I'm like, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even him. It was me. So I meet Gunnar. I tell him. Dan Yeager introduces me to him. He goes, "Why is that guy arguing with me about it?" I said, "I have no idea. I have no clue." But it was me, and he was so nice. I brought a couple Funko Pops to get signed. He goes, "I'm not. You don't have to pay for those." And I said, "Well, come on, pick." And he's like, "No." But he was such a nice guy. You know, everybody. 90% of those people that are in that you know, that have played Leatherface, 99% are all really nice guys, and I just been blessed. Besides Robert Jacks, who passed away before your cross-dressing Leatherface, which I paid a lot of money for. I got an autographed picture that I bought years ago for like $800.
Cool.
And I was like, I gotta have. He's dead, you know, and you can't find something from him, and he didn't sign a lot, I guess. So.
Right, so he's like the Richard Brooker of the Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, so I got something signed by him I'm pretty proud of, and I told my wife if I ever die, put that up for a lot of money.
Nice.
But that's the story. So now, lately, you know, at the conventions I go, and I bring these bloody sledgehammers, you know, because, I mean, that's what I do. You know, I'll sign the chainsaws, but I let everybody know. You know, I'm up front with them. I said, hey, I'm the Kemper Kill Leatherface. That's what I and I sign that too. I'll sign Kemper Kill Leatherface or it's Hammer Time or something like that. And although I do sign the chainsaws, but I try to let people know that because I don't want to steal our other buddy's thunder.
Right.
So.
Right on. Yeah, you're going to be coming to Cleveland sometime this year. Are you doing the Ohio Horror Con?
Ohio Terrorcon.
Ohio Terrorcon.
Get it straight, Paulton.
What's it? I screw this stuff up all the time.
I'm pretty stoked about that. Never been. Wait a minute. I guess I signed. I guess Horror Hound is in Cincinnati, right? So
Cincinnati, 4 hours away.
That is in Ohio. So Horror Hound, a great show. But our buddy who's doing the horror, Ohio Terrorcon is pretty convincing, and I'd love to give. He's got a lot of good guests coming, and we just got to make sure we spread the word so all these folks get over there and see it. I mean, he's got a really good lineup coming.
I think he's the guy he's affiliated with the people that do Cinema Wasteland. And I've lived in Cleveland my whole life. I've been a horror fan my whole life. I just heard about Cinema Wasteland like 2 years ago.
Oh man, I can't get those guys to book me to save my life.
Really?
And it's not just Texas Chain. I mean, I've been in a lot of movies, a lot of horror stuff too.
Right. They're right down the street from me. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah,
the press here for these kind of things is just not good. But we're trying to rectify that since we've gotten this show. We're talking about stuff like this more, getting them some more publicity because that's just insane. If we're going to New Jersey to see conventions because we didn't know we had them in our backyard.
I'll be there in August.
Yeah, it's August for the Ohio Terrorcon, right?
No, oh yeah, August. But I'll also be in. I'll be at New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
Let me find this real quick because I want to find this guy.
Yeah, the reason I reached out to you is I heard you do on the podcast with the HorrorCon Lounge guys.
Oh, I love those guys. So Zach Ross is who's running Ohio Terrorcon, and he, we've been talking off and on for about a year and a half, and I don't know what I was doing. I was doing everything I can. I don't want to go. I'm not going to Ohio to a new con. But when I started seeing something, it's just it's a time thing, right? I'm honest with folks. Right. I'm like, you got a brand new con. I really, a lot of us will have a small guarantee because I want to make sure that I don't go out there for any reason, just to go out there and then sit there and be like, oh man. But Zach is bringing in some really good guests. He's a really good guy. I think he's promoting enough that I think we're going to have he's bringing in some top-notch guests. So he's bringing in one of my buddies, Walter Phelan, Dr. Satan.
Yeah.
From House of a Thousand Corpses. And, so I'm pretty excited about that. And Amelia Kincaid, Night of the Demons.
Yeah, a couple people from that film.
Toxic Avenger reunion.
Yep. So that's going to be at the same place that they do Cinema Wasteland in Strongsville, which is a suburb of Cleveland.
Oh, cool.
So I live like 5 minutes from there.
The library will be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's we had the Ken Sagos who played Kincaid from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 on there.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, all the old Hollywood people he met when he was working for Universal Studios and MGM and all this. And he had brought up a name that worked with Alfred Hitchcock. I don't even remember. Ryan will remember who it is. And Edith Head. He was like, but you guys won't know who she is. And Ryan goes, oh yeah, I absolutely know who she is. And he starts telling him who she is. And he was like,
off the credits.
So he started calling her the library.
Okay. So we'll test his skills right now. I'm a big fan of, you give me one actor or give me the lead zombie's name in this movie. Okay.
Oh,
let's see if
children shouldn't play with dead things.
I know that.
That's more of a Rick question.
I know it, but I don't. It's not in my head. I can't answer that. And
let's see if somebody from one of my. It's a very funny, campy horror flick that I saw when I was very young, and the actors from that also did another movie called I think they helped produce it and direct it, and Shockwaves. which is Nazi zombies in the water, which
Nice.
one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite
posts. It's up my alley for sure.
one of the great posters of our time, and I've always been trying to figure out how to. I mean, just the title alone, "Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things," is just a. If you said that, hey, we're going to go watch "Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things," people are going to be, what? I'd go see that. What is that? That's just the greatest title in the world. And it was a very cheesy, campy zombie flick on an island, like off the coast of New York or whatnot. So, I mean, I'm a zombie guy. So, Dawn of the Dead is my ultimate favorite movie in the world. So,
Ryan's expertise is in things like he knows literally everything about Twilight Zone and like older stuff and like things like that. He's like.
Oh, you were going to say Twilight, and I was going to go.
No, not Twilight. No.
Ryan,
Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone's the greatest thing of all. If you look at the Twilight Zone and see how many important actors of our time made their chops on that series.
Lorena says we need to see that movie you were just talking about. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Yeah, go see it. Now listen, it is not a very good movie, but it's very fun. It's very fun.
That's what I like.
Think about redoing it. And then if you watch Shockwaves, there's some unique ways they shot stuff in this, especially from the water, with these Nazi zombies coming out of the water. And Peter Cushing's in it, so can't be that bad.
Right on. So you did the Crazies, one of your better known films. How was that? How'd you get that gig? And
audition, man. It's all it's just you go in for an audition. And I mean, this is a funny story because I was thinking, I'm like, well, the Crazies, that's Romero. I'm like, but they weren't zombies. They were, so they were infected. Something was wrong, and they were acting crazy.
Yeah.
So I did it going to the audition. I do it like a zombie on the phone, truck driver. And then I walk out and I'm like, what did I just do? That has nothing to do with what the Crazies was. And now I just acted like, but they liked my thing. I got the gig, and that was 2 weeks of filming, one week in Iowa, 1 week in Atlanta. And Brett Eisner, Michael Eisner's kid, who was the director, was a really nice guy, great guy. And Timothy Oliphant was great. And, and I had a huge fight scene with Timothy Oliphant and got to do my own burn, in it. So
that's the questions on my paper. I was going to say, did you do the burn scene?
I did do the burn scene. I mean, we had a stunt guy who did it too, but I took a crack at it, did a 3/4 burn, then did the full burn. And it was, I don't know if I'll ever do it again.
Great fight scene, by the way, great fight scene. I really enjoyed it. I just watched it the other day, and I tried to watch the original when we first talked about you doing the show, because that was streaming somewhere, and your version wasn't, so I had to buy it. I didn't like the original. I didn't like the original. No,
original's not what it is. This is I love Romero, one of my heroes, but it was more political. It was weird.
Yeah.
Ours, they were set up for a sequel, and I was just like, man, we're getting a sequel. And I convinced the director. I said, what about in the middle of the sequel, if they came out and Oliphant's walking around and he sees our truck, and he sees me all burnt up in the back of it, all chained up to the back, Yeah. And then he comes close by to take a look, and I pop my eye open or something. He goes, that's not bad. But never came to fruition. So, but great movie. One of my favorite movies ever to work on. I'm sure Texas Chainsaw would have been my favorite if I would have finished the movie. But the Crazies was awesome. Got to work with some tremendous people, and we went to the red carpet. I don't do very many red carpets. But we were at the red carpet, and Timothy Oliphant came over, shake my hand. He goes, "Hey, that fight scene was pretty good, huh? Came out great."
It was really
And then
good.
all the cameras come over, and they're like, "Shh." He goes, "Just smile, just smile."
Oh yeah,
but a very nice guy.
Been there, done that with them red carpets.
Yeah.
All business on the set, though. You're working with him; he's all business. It's like no joking around, which is fine. Some people are like, "Oh," I'm like, he's gonna, he's the lead in a friggin' $20 million movie. He's all business, but outside of it, he was very nice.
Right on. So, what other actors have you worked with that were like, what were like, some other experiences with different actors that you worked at? Maybe like
I mean, my first movie is called Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
So at the time, I was a huge Robin Williams fan. You know, when I did that, and you know, Robin Williams will tell jokes in between. You know, be telling a joke to everybody, and then the director, Christopher Columbus, tremendous director, done everything, Miss Doubtfire, and everything you can think of. I think he did a couple of the. My dog's in here. What's up? I think he did some of the. Come here. You coming up? Say hello. Come here. Come here. Who's that? Come here. All right. She's not saying.
Dog cameo.
He'll tell a joke, and then when the director says, "All right," he'll stop the joke, and then when he says "cut," he'll finish the joke. So I mean, look. So this is my first big movie. So I'm getting like $60 a day per diem, or $70. When you get there, they give you a check for the first week. Here's all your money. Of course, I'm going to a place called Roaring Twenties, which is a strip club. I spend it all. I spend, you know, like $300 or $400 in one night. And I'm like, oh man. I'm using my phone. I'm using a hotel phone calling everybody. I'm on a move. You know, that's long distance.
Yeah.
So then I got hit with another like $400 bill when I left, and I was like, what? Then I had to come back up a week later for another week just in case they needed me. But I decided that I heard a very funny joke, and I decided it's my last day on the set. I'm doing something, and I'm like, I might start into this joke, and everybody's like looking at me. What are you doing? And then I finished the joke, and everybody's just staring at me. And Robin Williams is like, "Stick to your day job, kid. Stick to the day job." And then everybody's laughing. But he was so nice, and I met him. I went to a private school for a couple of years when I was growing up, and one of the kids' father, we had a sleepover in probably 6th grade, but his dad was the producer of Mork and Mindy.
Nice.
So him and his dad come into the house, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning. They had been out, who knows, having a couple beers, and there's 5 of us there, and here's Mork. And he like entertained us for a couple hours. And I remember I mentioned that to him. He's like, "Oh, I was back in my partying days. Was I fun?" He goes, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh yeah, you were great, man. I just wanted to say thank you anyway." So really nice guy. God, I've gotten to work with some pretty good people. I worked on the TV show Mom, Allison Janney, you know, just tremendous actress. You know, I working on Marcus Nispel, our director from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Even though it was only a couple days, he's a really good guy. So actors, directors, I've gotten to work with. You know, I worked on John Dies at the End, Don Coscarelli, you know, who's one of my heroes from Phantasm,
right?
Beastmaster, and some other stuff. And he's a great guy. Him and his wife to work with are just tremendous talent there, and just such great guys. And here's my one story about Don. I come in to do ADR to get, you know, get the tracks right and get my voice in there properly. And he goes, and Clancy Brown's walking out. I was like, "Oh my God, that's Clancy Brown. I'm a big fan of his." And Don goes, after we're done, he goes, "So what's going on?" You know, I'm like, "What, you really want to know what's going on?" And he goes, "Yeah, what are you doing?" I said, I just finished writing a movie called Kill Billies."
Oh,
you know, and he goes, "Tell me about it." And I tell him about it. He goes, "That's pretty good." I said, "Well, would you direct it?" And he goes, "Baby steps, kid, baby steps." Like if you can get it, you know, so someone interested in it, then holler at me, and I'd love to do it. But such a good guy, and you know, just been very lucky to work with some really good people over the years. So
right on. And you're a biker yourself, and you got to work on Sons of Anarchy. What was that like?
Yeah, so I was riding with the club at the time too. So I remember I used to come to the set with my pots on, and I'd be like, "Yeah, you know." And Kim Coates was a good friend of mine before that. So I got, you know, went into his dressing room, was like, "Hey," he goes, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm working." Yeah, that was great. That was fun. Look, if I would have known that show would have been so big, I probably would have, in retrospect, you would have said no to the small part I did and hoped for something bigger, because no one knows. It's the 3rd episode.
Yeah, right.
None of that stuff is even aired yet. And but yeah, I mean, a lot of people. a lot of people come to the cons, and I have, you run Sons of Anarchy. I'm like, yeah. You got any pictures? I do. But I was also the voice of this wonderful show for off and on for 20 years, Monster Garage. So that really gave me a heads up and another way to make money. Working with Jesse James and Tom Beers, our executive producer, and that was just, I still go do some stuff that's car shows and bike shows that are concerned with Monster Garage. So
right on. Let's see what else we got here. You got any questions for Brett, Ryan?
Man, just thinking about that too. What he just said, just voiceover work seems like the golden ticket, man.
If you can get, if it's union, if you can get in there, do union. Because I'm the voice of a lawnmower company called Bad Boy Mowers, 21 years.
Hell yeah!
So I've been doing that, and that's in Batesville, Arkansas. So I've been doing some of their commercials for 21 years. So I've been blessed to be able to work for that company and do some stuff. In fact, next week, Tuesday, I got to fly to Louisville for the indoor power equiment. Big deal.
Your voice is so recognizable to me from that show.
Yes,
just sitting here talking to you for not even an hour, I just can't.
Well, Ryan, now listen, I do some private talking on phone at 3:00 in the morning. If you pay the good, I can call you up. But so I've been blessed that I don't have to throw anybody out of a bars for the last 20. I mean, I can't say I haven't worked them, because sometimes some guys will call and say, I used to cover for you and I got an acting gig. Can you come in? And I'll be like, oh man, I haven't had to do it in a few years, but I will always gladly sometimes go back. And here's a funny one. So James Gandolfini, I did Tony Soprano. I did some kid had obviously a rich kid and went to USC, and he had some money. So for his thesis, his graduating project, he did a short film, and he had James Gandolfini in it, me and a couple guys. And I was like, well, who's this James Gandolfini guy? And they're like, oh, he's going to be a big deal. He steals the show, and a scene stealer and True Romance. And I'm like,
I was going to say, True Romance.
I remember him, the corkscrew to the foot. And so he used to come by Jones, the bar I worked, and I used to have a flat top, and he goes, I got to get you on this. I don't know if it was Crimson Tide or the other submarine movie, and I can't think of it right now. But he's like, I got to get you on that show. So it's one of them. It's Crimson Tide or Red October. I don't know which one it was. But he's, he was always like, looking out for you. But then I went away, and I was making money as an actor, so I didn't have to come back. And then we went on strike, and I remember, I've always been a big guy, so I'm a 300-pound dude out there and sitting at the door, and here comes James Gandolfini across the street, midway into The Sopranos. So he's a giant star, and he goes, whoa, what the fuck are you still doing here, you big fuck? And I was like, oh God. I felt bad. I felt, I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to tell him I didn't save any money, and now we're on strike, and I have to throw people out of a bar. But he sensed that. Half hour later, he comes back on and goes, hey man, I'm just fucking with you and all that. And I go, I know you are. And he sat there and talked to me for like 30 minutes. I'm like, but now people are, almost crashing their cars, and the paparazzi are, because it's Tony Soprano at the front door of this place. I'm like, hey man, you better go inside before we have a fight or something out here, because Tony Soprano's in the front. But really nice guy. It's a shame he passed away. He just very talented guy. And there's another story about a guy I like.
Yeah,
I'm writing a book, so we'll have I've seen some strange things in my time, working the doors. And if you could have picked another iconic film besides Leatherface, do you have,
go ahead and just read the question.
Chris Olin.
Yeah, I had that question as well on my paperwork here, but since he asked it, I'll put it out there from him.
I mean, gosh, I don't know. I mean, would I've liked to have? I guess a Friday the 13th would have been. Jason would have been cool.
Possible, man.
But I'm kind of an old guy. I mean, they're gonna. Did you just see they're gonna redo Leatherface?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too. If you had any interest in that.
I'm not in shape for that, man. You got to be. You know what? Listen, you got to be in tremendous shape, unless
we're the last.
They're going to have
film like overseas and somewhere where it's nowhere near as hot as Texas anyway, so you won't have to be all hot.
As long as I got a really good stunt guy that's going to be there to do the heavy lifting, that's fine. I just did a movie last year called Desert Fiends with Tom Arnold.
I tried to find that. Is that out?
No, not yet. They're still editing it.
I couldn't find it. Okay, makes sense.
Sean C. Phillips, he's a director. He's on the up and coming. He's still Indiegogo guy, but he raises a couple $100,000 per movie. Puts in the good. I mean, I might kill or might not kill Scout Taylor Compton in this movie, which was pretty cool. And the funny thing about Scout is, 20 years ago, I played a doorman in a movie called Sleepover. And she's one of the stars of it. And I had no idea. And then my buddy's like, I know you're working with her in this movie, but you worked with her before. And I was like, what? I never worked with her, but I did. I was as she was a kid. So
yeah.
Desert Fiends is going to be fun. We're getting ready to do a movie called Skate to Hell.
Nice.
We might have but I got a pretty good part in that, and that's another Sean C. Phillips movie. So, between doing some of these indie films and still auditioning for some big stuff. I mean, I just had a big audition for Bosch, a TV show, and some other stuff. So, but it's you got as an actor, you have to learn. I'm not a kid anymore, right? I got to get some new pictures done. I got to get different. I tried to dye the beard. Tried to put this stuff in that you wash with the soap, and it's just not working. It's so white. So you got to transition into what's next, and what's next is me not being so physical, unless they really need it. And I can still do a few fight scenes, but I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be playing any. I play if we do Desert Fiends 2. This guy Eric Yoder, who's a very good special effects guy, practical effects is great. So we're gonna. I think once they see this, they're gonna. The trailer's out there, Desert Fiends, and it's pretty cool. And I get to play this mutant Papa. It's like a Hills Have Eyes, and I'm pretty excited about it. So are you? I wish I was in the new Clown Motel movie. These guys, these guys, the Mahal brothers up in Vegas are doing Werewolves First Bikers.
Oh, that sounds
cool. Wow. For God's sakes. And I rode with the club in Las Vegas. I'm like, wait,
you're perfect.
I can't get these guys to.
It sounds like you're perfect for that gig, man.
That's what you would think. You would think.
Right on, man. All right. So we usually go about an hour, and we're getting right about close up to it. Did you have anything that's coming out that you wanted to talk about before we?
Yeah, we're going to be shooting in April. Skate to Hell in Las Vegas. There's some Indiegogo stuff that that movie is all Indiegogo. I mean, we'll get the money. We're doing really great, anyways. But if you want to be a part of it. These guys, I'm telling you, Sean C. Phillips and our producer Nicole Vegas, they're doing really well. They're doing this stuff.
Vegas, I got a connection with her on Facebook. She pops up on my Facebook all the time. I had no idea who she was. So
yeah, she's done a lot of stuff. So she's from an actress, but she's getting into that producer role.
Nice.
She's doing really well. She's got she's starting to get her hands gripped around Las Vegas, and it's a great place to shoot, especially on the outskirts of Vegas. So, and of course, if you're going to be in Vegas, you might as well go to Nightmare Toys and Nightmare Cafe up there and say hello to Christy.
Yeah, she was on the Dolls of Horror. I think that's where I heard her. Yeah, I followed
great place.
Facebook. Yeah, if I ever do get to Vegas, I will definitely go there.
And the Punk Rock Hall of Fame is, the Punk Rock Museum's up there. So,
mm-hmm.
But other than that, that's what we do. If you ever see me at a convention, I appreciate you. If you would like to see me at a convention, then tell those people
we're going to do that.
Hire the big dragon.
We'll have to talk.
I have one more thing I wanted to ask you. When you do come to Cleveland, are you going to do the in costume photo ops?
I believe we are doing it. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, even if we don't, we'll pick a time and we can do it at my table. I'd rather if they do professional photo ops, because then you get a picture before you leave.
Yeah.
And I can sign that for you. But other than that, I'm going to bring the costume. So
Cool.
That's always a big thing. I mean,
like
in costume.
I heard you on the HorrorCon Lounge podcast. That's why I wanted to have you on, because it was just so fun, the conversation you were having with those guys, and I knew you had some great stories. And I heard on there that you were big about tacos. That's why I seen you the pictures from La Plaza Tacos that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might be the spot. Like Lizzo was going crazy about it when she was in town. So when you come on Ohio Terror,
Hey, Big Swag, Liz, don't put those two names together. For God's sakes.
I'm just saying, she knows something about tacos.
Oh,
yeah, I bet she does.
I'm sure she knows her way around.
I'm sure she does.
That's why
Lizzo, yes.
Not necessarily as a fan of her, but I will bring you tacos from there, or I will take you to the place, whichever.
Oh, let's go, man. I always get a car when I go. People are like, "Why do you rent a car?" Because I don't like to be. I want to go do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, Strongville. There's going to be something to do in Strongville. I'll find it.
Well, no, Strongsville's 5 minutes away from Cleveland. We'll show you where everything is.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing in Strongsville.
I'm not going into Cleveland, for God. Are you out of your mind? I'm not going to Cleveland. Listen, I'm a large guy, but I'm not crazy. LeBron left. What am I going to go there for? No, I'm excited. I'm excited. I've never been to Cleveland, so it's one of those places I've never been to. So if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes away, that'd be awesome to go see something, or
I'm telling you, we'll pick you up, man. We got cars. You
got a car?
Yeah, I got a couple of them. Big cars, Susie.
He's got a Cadillac, man.
I do. I have a Cadillac. I have a Jeep Cherokee.
What year's the Cadillac?
It's 2011.
That's big. That's all right.
Been around for a while. She's been around for a while, but she's
that's
still
all
nice.
right. Yeah, I'm all excited about it.
It's clean. It's clean. Yeah.
I get to hang out with. You want to see a guy that's got some good stories? Michael Berryman.
Oh, I know he's not going to be there. He canceled that con.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has some health issues, I guess, or something going on. I don't remember what the deal was, but
August is a long way off.
I don't remember what it was, but it was a good reason. I don't know what it was, but
Michael's a great guy, and he's got some tremendous stories that have nothing even to do with horror movies.
It's just Hills Have Eyes poster right there, waiting for him to sign it. And,
more importantly, you have that weird, wacky. I couldn't even watch 2 episodes. Nosferatu thing behind you up there on the wall.
I got that in a mystery box. I've never even seen it. I mean, I'm a fan of the the Dracula movie, from the back in the day.
Of course.
The current show, I have no idea, nothing about it, but it says Nosferatu, and I thought it was kind of cool. It came in a mystery box. I was like, I threw it up there.
So I'm going to give you, we'll leave it at this. I'm going to give you a movie, I think, folks. I mean, if you probably have already seen it, but a very fun movie. There's 2 movies. It's one Stakeland, and one is called Late Phases. Late Phases is a retirement community in werewolves, and Stakeland is a different take on vampires and whatnot and the end of the world. And 2 tremendous movies that go underneath the radar, which I love, and the same lead actors in both. You guys go watch that. Next time we chat, you'll be like, oh, hey. And so the viewers at home, Stakeland, Late Phases, PHASES, and children shouldn't play with dead things. That is your homework for this weekend.
All right, we will definitely do that. And thanks again for coming on, man. We had a fucking great time. Hopefully you had a good time, and we will definitely see you in August. Is it Ohio TerraCon? And
August.
When you get in town, like I'm telling you, we'll go La Plaza Tacos, and I'll show you some cool shit around Cleveland. Not a problem with that. All right, brother.
I'm ready, guys. Well, I get that up so it doesn't look like I'm flipping you off. I'm ready.
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks, guys. Right.
Thank you, sir. Have a great night, my friend. All right. That was pretty fucking awesome, right?
Yeah, hell of a guy, man.
All right. Let's see. I lost my camera. I'm still here. No. I moved this thing so I can see the comments, and it's the thing my camera's sitting on. All right. So hope to see you back in New Mexico. So Schwag, if you can still hear us, that's Bill Wolf says he hopes to see you back in New Mexico. On to watch the dive. Enjoyed tonight. All right, Karen. Yeah, we're about to wrap it up. So everybody in the comments, go check out Charles Sherrod on the dive. He's got a special about Carl Weathers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he's doing a Predator thing tonight, and he's obviously gonna talk some Carl Weathers stuff. So that's pretty cool. And Predator. Did they say Predator? Maybe I don't know. But let's see. Lorena said she was in Cleveland back in December. You should have hit us up. We could have took you somewhere fancy to eat or something. She said she was in Cleveland back in December and she's still alive. What was the day in August? I live in Michigan. May have to come down for it. I don't know, but I'll post it on the page. And yeah, you should definitely come down, man. It should be a good time. We're trying to do our part in expanding the Cleveland horror scene for sure.
We just drove up to Michigan ourselves last weekend.
And we did that, yeah. So we came and supported your people, so you got to come and support ours. And we were up there, and we'll talk about that for a second. Sure. We went up and we seen Kane Hodder at the Michigan Oddities and Horror Fest.
Horror and Oddities.
Close enough. Close enough. And yeah, we went up there for that, and it had an awesome time. They did really well the second day. I don't know if you've seen on Facebook.
No.
Even without Kane there. Yeah, all the vendors were still there, and everybody was real happy. So I want to go over some stuff before we wrap this up. Karen, thank you so much. Thanks. She says you guys are great. Down here, I've had a ticker going. Where's my camera? Down here through the whole show, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to read any of that. Rob Dow, award-winning St. John's, Michigan Jason in the house. How'd your interview go? He did an interview tonight. We're going to check out the tape delay of that later. So as I said, I've had this ticker going, and I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to check it out, but this is talking about some things we got upcoming on the show. And I'm going to wait for it to start coming back around so I could go ahead and read it myself so I don't fuck this up. I typed this thing out. You don't know how many times I went in, I said, oh, I fucked that up, and I edited it. I still fucked shit up. So, we had the Lost Leatherface, Brett Wagner. That was tonight. And then next week, we're going to talk to the director of the Melonheads, Eddie Langill. Are you familiar with the Melonheads legend, Ryan?
No.
No, it's pretty cool. It's been a thing talked about in Cleveland forever. In Kirkland, is that a place? Kirtland?
Yeah, Kirtland, Ohio.
Just outside of Cleveland. There was I guess a mental hospital where they were doing, and all this is probably bullshit, but this is what the legend is, where they were doing experiments on kids, and they all had the water on the brain, I don't know how you say the word. We'll just say water on the brain since I can't pronounce the word anyway. And they were doing like piping shit in, injecting in, and the kids were all fucked up. And I guess legend has it that if you go to the woods by there, you can still hear the kids scream. Wrong side. I'm trying to show you see it over there, Rob? It's right next to that hockey mask. It's hard to make out with the thing. The poster. You wanted to see where's the poster. But you hear the kids scream in the woods. And it's just been a thing forever. And there's a street that you go to, and there's like a little bridge, and people go there, and it's supposed to be haunted. Well, they've been talking about making a movie for this forever. And Tony Rizzo was supposed to be in a movie about it. He was always talking about it on his show. And then I hear about it for like 10 years. So yesterday or the day before, might have been yesterday, I'm flipping through Facebook and I see an ad for this movie. And I'm like, did that ever come out? Because I'm thinking it's the other one. It's a totally different one. So then I start messaging back and forth with Ed, and he's directed about 6 or 7 horror movies, most of which are on Tubi.
Yeah, I looked him up.
Yeah. Some of them are pretty freaking good. Like, I mean, considering the budget and everything, like he has a Christmas movie, which, that Christmas thing we got that I'm working on be perfect for that. I started to watch that, and it had some pretty cool kills, some pretty cool practical effects. And I was messaging him about that. I said, yeah, I was just watching your film. It's called Mother Krampus 2. It's on Tubi. He said, we made that for like $300. I'm probably exaggerating, but really cheap. Cheaper than any of these fan films that we've watched. And I'm like, wow, you guys know what to do with $1, So that's, good to have. So he's going to be doing a premiere of that movie on February 29th. I'm going to go to it. I don't know if you're going to go to it. But I'm going to be giving away some tickets to that on the show next week. And I am going to just random people in the comments for that. And if you buy tickets to his event and you show me that you bought tickets to his event, I am going to give a signed Jason item to a random person that bought tickets to his event.
Mm-hmm.
If I get 10 or more people to buy tickets to this world premiere, which you could buy on Fandango or from his Facebook page, the Legend of the Melonheads Facebook page. If I get 10 or more, I'm going to give away a Kane Hodder item. If I don't get 10 or more, then I'm giving away that Ken Kersinger photo I got in another mystery box because I don't want that fucker. But if you want something good, you're gonna have to show up and actually support this guy. The tickets are only $12. $12 for a night at the movies. You can't beat it.
We're gonna run into Ken Kersinger at a con one of these days.
You're gonna have to tell him. I'm not paying to meet that guy. I'm sorry. I wanted his autograph because I'm a completist and I want all of them.
Yeah,
but I'm not paying to meet him. I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I will. I'll do it.
He was also Jason in my least favorite Jason movie as well for one scene too. So if I did get him to sign one more thing, it would be a picture from that when he gets run over by the car.
He's been in 2 of the bottom 3 Jason movies.
Right. I mean, it's whatever. So that's what we're gonna do for that. And the 29th happens to be on a Thursday, so if we're at a premiere, we can't be live. So what I decided to do for that is me and my daughter have been talking about she wants to come on the show sometime to do a review of Psycho, which is her favorite film. And I got that 4K Alfred Hitchcock box set for me. That's the best part about having kids. You buy them shit that you really want, So I bought that for her for Christmas, and we're going to watch that probably tonight after I wrap this up. And then we might even shoot the thing tonight if we have time, who knows, but we'll have that ready to go. So on that Thursday, it'll play live during our slot. You can comment. We'll see them later. But definitely watch that and support that as well. And let us know what you think. Let me know how you think she did. And, maybe if she was halfway decent, we can get her to review some other Hitchcock stuff because we watched The Birds and she really liked that as well. So I think, and I know you said Vertigo is not really a horror film, but we probably could do that as well. And,
yeah, it's such an important film.
Yeah. So, we'll see how that goes. And yeah, a good show tonight, man. It was fucking awesome. I had a really good time with it. I knew I was going to. I seen his interview he did with the people from HorrorCon Lounge and like just some of the stories he was telling on there. And like he knew them because they go from con to con to con all the time. And he's met them at several cons. So he kind of had a little bit of relationship with them. But he just seemed like really easy to talk to. He was funny. Yeah, it was real good time, man.
The whole time talking to him, though, just that voice is just so.
You're hearing the intro of the Monster Garage.
Yeah,
I've only seen the show a few times, so yeah. Because
I used to watch it all the time.
That was during the era you had him doing his thing with the West Coast Choppers and then the East Coast Chopper or the Orange County Choppers.
Yeah,
guys at the same time. So
I used to watch all that stuff, man, when it was like new on TV.
Yeah. I watched a lot of it because I was really into the bikes, man. I mean, I think the East Coast or the Orange County Choppers did a better job.
I never was a big motorcycle person. Like I never wanted to ride one, but just the way those shows presented it just made it so interesting to me on TV.
Right.
And I like the restorations, like anything like that.
Hell yeah.
They just made it interesting.
Yeah, and the bikes they made were just awesome. I had one of those the bicycles that Jesse James made, the West Coast Choppers bikes. I had one of those.
Yeah, those it was basically like it was some Bob Vila shit, but with motorcycles, not houses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chrissy says, I wonder if they did not know how big the 2003 remake was going to be if they were going to have a random guy to play Leatherface.
No.
Well, I don't know if it was a random guy. I mean, it was a guy that totally fit the build.
Yeah.
6'5", 300 pounds. That's what you want. And a lot of these with these mass killers, they always want to have lesser known guys so they don't have to pay them as much.
Exactly.
That's why Jason changed so much. And Kane just loved doing it, so they just kept having him. He didn't demand huge contracts.
No.
But some of the other guys, they want, the movie got big, they wanted more money. Fuck you, we'll get another guy and throw him under the mask.
Yeah, I mean, they kept using him over and over, but if he just showed up to one and be like, okay, double my salary, they'd tell him to hit the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he didn't, because he was a stuntman anyway. I mean, that was his main bread anyway. So he knew where he was supposed to be, and he just loved the character.
It was pretty cool meeting him. It was actually my first time meeting him.
Yeah. He was really cool. I like how he made Ricky choke him. That was great.
Yeah.
That was awesome, because he used to choke the people he was taking pictures with, but somebody, I think somebody sued him for it.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
it. There was a thing, so he can't do it now. But he was like, no, I want him to choke me. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. I wish he would have at least pretended he remembered Ricky a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Like, I thought about trying to contact Adam Marcus and have him text him
Mhm.
and like, hey, man, when you see him, this is what he's going to be wearing. Just, go overboard about it. But he still treated him really cool, like he did the first time.
Yeah.
Like, he was having a conversation with him outside as we walked in because he really dug the Victor Crowley mask.
He was great with my nephew, too.
Yeah. He had a good time, too, I imagine, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the wrestling ring.
Kid's still talking about it.
Yeah.
Like he would shut up about it for like the next 2 days, my brother said. So.
That's good shit. Good shit. Yeah.
Yeah. He was great to my nephew, but he was a dillweed to me. You hear what he said to me?
No, I didn't hear what he said. If I did, I was so excited and everything. I forgot. I was going to try to at least ask him to do the podcast.
I mean, he was just fucking with me, but
what
still,
would he say?
Funny. Well, I got up, his handler. I told her what my name was for the photo, and she just goes, ugh. She goes, I hate the name Ryan. That was my ex-husband's last name. Ugh, like that. I'm like, I'm really sorry, And then,
like, I didn't do it.
And then she looks over at Kane, and Kane looks at me, looks at her, looks back at me. He goes, you know what? I hate the fucking name Ryan too.
Oh yeah, he's great with shit like.
And you know what I said to him? I go, Kane, is your ex-husband's name Ryan too?
Did he laugh?
He goes, he just smirks and he goes, no, it's just a dumb sounding fucking name.
You know how the Death Curse Society guys, they'll get people to, hey, I'm so and so, and you're watching Death Curse Society.
Yeah.
My favorite one is the one they did with Kane. He goes, I'm Kane Hodder, and watch Death Curse Society, or don't. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Oh man. So 1 hour and 16 minutes. We're gonna get off of here. I think most people have left us already anyway.
Who cares?
But those of you that are still here, thanks for coming. Share the page, like the page, subscribe to the YouTube. We're gonna be putting more stuff on there. Check us out next week. It should be a really cool show with this local Cleveland director, and I know most of you are from Cleveland, so it'll be really cool to support somebody from Cleveland. Always a good thing to support people in the horror industry doing things. If we don't support these people, like like Vincent DeSanti and Bobby Heckman, these guys that are working on stuff now, we're going to be stuck with all the Blumhouse shit you guys complain about.
True.
New blood into the mix to be able to do some new stuff. But did you have anything else you wanted to talk about before we got out of here? Adam says, good show. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, real quick, man. I've been racking my brain on this all week, and I still reserve the right to change it. But as of now,
Super Bowl, right?
As of now, I'm gonna go San Francisco -2 and the under.
All right, I'm stupid. They're -2. Does that mean they're favored or that they're dogs?
They're favored, of course.
Okay. I get that fucked up all the time. The minus, the plus. Yeah. So I always forget. +2 means you're getting to. Sometimes I think it means you're giving to. If you say giving, then I understand it. But the minus and the plus,
the Niners
I get it
are given
confused.
2.
That makes sense to me.
Kansas City Football Chiefs.
So the Niners are favored.
Yes.
Every time somebody says it, I keep hearing Kansas City is favored. I don't know why, but I've talked to so many people about this, and they say what you're saying to me, but in my head, I hear the opposite.
They opened up as a 1-point favorite, and it jumped to 1.5, and now it's at 2. So I think actually a little bit more money has gone to Kansas City lately because they're moving that line.
So one more time, so I got this straight. You're taking the Niners and giving the 2.
Yes.
All right. I hope the Niners win. If they do win, they're going to win by 2.
I like the under as well. So it's like, give me.
What's the under?
Oh God, man, I don't have it in front of me. It's probably 50-ish.
I was going to say it has to be 50-ish because it's not. You better take the over.
23-17 San Francisco.
I think 28-24 San Francisco. Does that still get you your under?
It's right on the borderline.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's 28-24. And I think Brock Purdy leads them on a last-minute drive and wins the game.
Give me
47.5 is the over-under.
47.5. Okay.
But then again, if he's leading them on a last-minute drive, and if that score is 28-24, that means a field goal would send it into overtime. Huh. I still say that. That's what they're gonna do. Deebo Samuel runs in a touchdown. Runs in one. Runs in on the last play of the game. Wins it.
I'm gonna go a little off course though on that. Give me Bosa as the MVP. I think the defense is really gonna set the tone in this one.
How's Chase playing since he got there? I haven't really heard anything about it.
Pretty good, man. It's crazy when you're the worst guy on the defensive line, but you're still really good.
Is he not healthy? I mean, why is he the worst guy?
He is. He's good. But he's not like first overall pick good.
When I seen him as a rookie, he was. When I seen him in his first year, he was. Or second year, he was.
Yeah.
I seen him do some crazy shit.
He never made the impact like Garrett or Bosa or any of those guys ever did. Never stepped
Well, he got hurt early.
I know he did.
He got hurt a couple times.
Yeah.
And I think that might have had something to do with it. Let's see. I'm going Saturday to Bloodbath in Jackson, Michigan to win another contest, Rob Dowell. All right, Rob. Chris says 24-21 Niners. So I guess we're all in agreement that it's going to be the Niners. I like anybody to win 6, so Pittsburgh is not, one more team has 6 because fuck them. That's why.
Been a while for the Niners too. What, 1994?
I think they've been to 3 since then and lost all 3.
Yeah, they lost obviously a few years ago to Kansas City, and then they lost.
They lost to Baltimore.
One with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. Was it just 2 then? I thought it was 3.
I think it's just those 2.
All right.
Since '94, when they blew out San Diego.
Oh, they just embarrassed them.
Like 55-10 or something.
Yeah, San Diego had Natron Means. He was a good back, but
that running back, I
liked him.
Yeah.
Right on. But all righty then. So we're gonna get the fuck out of here, guys. Thanks again for showing up. Thanks to Brett Wagner. He's not hearing us, but I'm gonna thank him anyway. Really appreciate him coming on and
for sure.
Staying in contact with me the whole time. The other day he texted me to make sure we were still on, everything was good, and I was watching the Crazies as he texted me, so I thought that was funny. But yeah, so really good time with him. Check out his stuff. He has he didn't even bring it up, but he has a podcast he does. It took me forever to even find it. I can't remember the name of it. I'll post something about it on the page.
Post on the page, yeah.
And the guy that does the podcast with him, it's only on YouTube, and of course they play him on Facebook too. Also does a podcast. It's the same stream, so if you're subscribed to it, you'll get both with Beatrice Bupley from Amanda Kruger,
right,
who's going to be on the show eventually. We
Gotcha.
talked about it, and she said she would do it. So I'm going to reach out to her again. We got this guy coming up. Got some other stuff coming up. Just follow the page, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anything else, Ryan?
Yeah, eventually we're going to have a Twilight Zone episode too.
Oh, that. Yeah, the next time we have an episode where I can't think of a thing to do. I just finished season 1 of the Twilight Zone. So as I go through the seasons, we're going to do a season 1 episode, season 2 episode, and I'm going to have Ryan in here doing his fucking Rain Man thing with the Twilight Zone. Dude, I was so like, I knew you knew a lot of shit, but I was like, get the fuck out of here. Just pulling it like bam, bam, bam. But right on, man. So we're going to do that coming up real soon. That might be the week of the 21st because 15th is next week. 22nd. And there's a week in 22nd then. Yeah, it might be the week of the 22nd.
Sounds good to me.
But again, you don't need to prepare. We're ready to go. Shit's fresh in my mind. So that's probably what we'll do. And anything else?
There goes the neighborhood.